joining us on a brand new episode of Are You Sure? I'm your host, Agape Awad, and today we're continuing through our books of Genesis and Exodus with our contestant, Jonathan. Just to remind you, Jonathan has already answered 10 questions correctly and is now at round 3. Jonathan, we're now going to get started with question number 1 from round 3. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look at question number 1. Who are the people who supported Moses' hands? Aaron and Hur, Joshua and Hur, or Nadab and Hur?
Aaron and Hur.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. That is the correct answer. We know that in Exodus 17:12, when Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on each side, so that his hands remained steady until sunset. Good job, Jonathan. Moving on now to question number 2. Question number 2 is from Exodus 17:13, and the question asks, who defeated the people of Amalek with the edge of the sword? Hur, Aaron, or Joshua?
Joshua.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look at the answer. That is the correct answer. We know from Exodus 17:13. So Joshua overcame the Amalekite army with the sword. Question number 3 of round 3. When Moses let down his hand during the battle with the people of Amalek, who prevailed? The Gideonites, Israel, or Amalek?
Amalek.
So when he let down his hand, the people of Amalek prevailed?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. That is the correct answer. We're told in Exodus 17:11 that as long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning, but whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. Question number 4. What did the people of Israel say when Moses came down and told them all that God had commanded? They said, "We will not obey." They said, "Take us back to the land of Egypt." Or they said, "We will do as the Lord says."
We will do as the Lord says.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look at the answer. Answer number 3 is correct. Exodus 19:8 tells us the people all responded together and said, "We will do everything the Lord has said." So Moses brought their answer back to the Lord. Good job, Jonathan. We're continuing on now. According to Exodus 16:23, fill in the following blanks. Tomorrow is a blank rest, a holy blank to the Lord, and this term is used twice. Sunday, Monday, or the Sabbath?
Sabbath.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. That is correct. We know from Exodus 16:23 that the Lord commanded the Israelites to rest on the Sabbath day. Jonathan has successfully answered all the questions in round number 3. We'll take a short break and we'll be back to start round 4 with Jonathan.
They complained because they did not have enough food. The supplies they carried with them from Egypt began to run out, and they had to sustain in the wilderness. It would seem that starvation was more anticipated than experienced. In another word, they did not live through weeks and weeks of famine, nor did they see their families and friends die of malnutrition, or even they have to kill all their livestock for food. Instead, they started to feel hungry and anticipated starvation. They went from singing to complaining very quickly. They insisted that Moses and Aaron had bad or evil interpretations. Of course, Moses and Aaron had no interest of killing the people of Israel, and that was a shocking accusation. However, the grumbling hearts often find it easy to accuse the person it complains of having the worst motives. This was an amazing promise. Bread does not usually rain from the sky. However, God promised that He would provide Israel in this unexpected way. This reminds us that God may provide from resources that we never know existed. Sometimes He provided us with familiar resources, sometimes from unexpected resources. God promised to send bread from heaven, but He didn't promise to drop it into their mouths. They still had to go out and gather what they need for every day. The blessing of bread from heaven came with the responsibility of obedience. This responsibility would test Israel, the measure of their obedience. The test came on the sixth day, when they were to gather twice as much. On the seventh day could be received as a day of rest. One way God showed His glory was through this display of mercy and goodness. God didn't send them hell from heaven. He sent bread instead. Nor did He demand that they stop their complainings before they ate. Just like Jesus would later command us, God loved to feed those who acted like His enemy.
We're back with Are You Sure with Jonathan, and now we're starting round number 4 with question number 1. Jonathan, are you ready?
Yes.
Let's look at question number 1. According to Exodus 16:6, what time of the day shall the children of Israel see the glory of God and know that He is the one who freed them from Egypt? At noontime, in the evening time, or in the night?
In the evening?
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look at the answer. That is correct. We know from Exodus 16:6, so Moses and Aaron said to the Israelites, "In the evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt." Good job, Jonathan. Moving now to question 2 of round 4. Where did the Bible call the place from which the children of Israel set on their journey to Canaan from? The desert or the wilderness of sin, the village of sin, or the town of sin?
The desert, wilderness of sin?
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's look at the answer. That is correct. Exodus 17:1 describes the whole Israelite community set out from the desert of sin, traveling from place to place as the Lord had commanded. Good job, Jonathan. Moving on to question number 3. According to Exodus 16:1, the children of Israel journeyed from Elam to what place? Palestine, Egypt, or Sinai?
Sinai.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's see the answer. That is correct. We know from Exodus 16:1, and they took their journey from Elam, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elam and Sinai. Good job, Jonathan. Question number 4 of round 4. According to Exodus 16:13, what animal came up at the evening and covered the whole camp? Chicks or little chickens, meat, or quails?
Quails.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's look at the answer. That is correct. We know from Exodus 16:13, and it came to pass that at eve the quails came up and covered the whole camp, and the morning the dew lay around the host. Good job, Jonathan. Question number 5 of round 4. According to Exodus 16:20, what did the bread that was left until the morning breed? Did it breed snakes? Did it breed frogs? Or did it breed worms?
Worms.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look at the answer. That is correct. We know that, however, Some of them paid no attention to Moses, and they kept part of the manna until the morning, but it was full of maggots and began to smell. So Moses was angry with them. Good job. Congratulations, Jonathan. You passed 4 rounds of Are You Sure? You made it up to $100. Now we're moving on to round number 5. Stay with us. After the break, we'll be back with Jonathan for round 5 of Are You Sure? Welcome back to Are You Sure? Now we are starting the 5th and final round with Jonathan. If he makes it till the end, he will reach the ultimate cash prize of $200. Jonathan, are you ready?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's get started. Question number 1 of round 5 asks, according to Exodus 16:25, where will the children of Israel not find the bread on the Sabbath? In the factory, in the company, or in the fields?
In the fields.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. That is correct. We know from Exodus 16:25, it says, "Eat it today," Moses said, "because today is the Sabbath to the Lord. You will not find any in the ground." Question number 2. According to Exodus 16:31, what did the house of Israel call that special bread that the Lord would send? They called it sesame bread, anise bread, or a special name, manna.
Manna.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. Yes, Exodus 16:31 tells us that the people of Israel called that special bread manna. It was white like coriander seed and tasted like the wafers made with honey. Question number 3 of round 5. Are you ready, Jonathan?
Yes.
Question number 3 asks, according to Exodus 16:32, where did the Lord feed the children of Israel? He fed them in his tent, or in his field, or in the wilderness.
In the wilderness?
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. That is correct. We know from Exodus 16:32 that Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Take an omer of bread and keep it for the generations to come, so they can see the bread that I gave you to eat in the wilderness." Good job, Jonathan. Now we are in the 4th question of round 5. According to Exodus 17:1, where did the children of Israel camp? They camped in a place called the Wilderness of Sin, or they camped in the land of Egypt, or they camped in a place called Rephidim.
Rephidim.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. That is correct. We are told in Exodus 17:1, the whole Israelite community set out from the desert of Sin, traveling from place to place as the Lord commanded. However, they camped at Rephidim. Good job, Jonathan.
Thank you.
So this is now the 5th and final question of the entire Are You Sure game. 5th and final round, question 25. Let's take a look. Question number 5 of round 5. According to Exodus 17:12, when Moses' hands became too heavy, what did they take to put under him? They took the mountain, the well, or a stone.
A stone.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's take a look. That is correct. We know when Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Good job, Jonathan. You got all the way to the end. Jonathan reached the 5th and final round of Are You Sure, answering all 25 of his questions correctly. He is going to receive the ultimate cash prize of $200, and we're going to celebrate with Jonathan in just a minute. Stay tuned. Congratulations to Jonathan on earning the ultimate cash prize of $200. Great job, Jonathan.
Thank you. Yay!
4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
جوناثان راح راقد يمين كده حوالي. بس يا جوناثان ما تقعدش تسخن في المواضيع.